Ah, my fiendish followers. Sometimes the costliest desires can leave you heartbroken and empty-pocketed. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring the bell icon to join our ghastly gathering. You're about to watch a tale of eerie enchantments and sinister sales in price of desire in the sleepy town of Derry, Maine, where the mist hangs heavy over the quiet streets and the townsfolk move with the comfortable assurance of long-established routine. There came a disruption. It was subtle at first, the opening of a new antique shop, Heart's Mirror, by a stranger whose smile was too quick and whose eyes were too sharp. Mr. Blackwood, he called himself, and he had the kind of charisma that could convince you to sell your soul for a trinket. Derry was a town with secrets, and every person had a wish buried deep in their heart. Blackwood had a knack for finding just the item that would whisper to those secret desires. It was uncanny, almost magical, how he knew that Mrs. Parker yearned for the porcelain doll from her childhood, or that young Billy craved a baseball mitt like the one his father had once promised him before the accident. Tom Riley, the local mechanic and our skeptic, had lived in Derry all his life. His father's old garage was a place of solace, where the scent of oil and metal was a balm for his restless spirit. Tom had seen businesses come and go, but something about Heart's Mirror set his teeth on edge. The town began to change. The once quiet nights were now filled with the sounds of arguments, the once peaceful days marred by accidents and unexplained incidents. And everyone who visited the shop, they changed too. It was as though they were losing parts of themselves, becoming hollow. Tom's investigation began at the library, poring over old town records with Jane, the librarian. She was a woman whose sharp mind and clear eyes had seen the patterns before anyone else. They unearthed tales of a man similar to Blackwood, a man who appeared every 50 years, always when the town was on the brink of some silent collective despair. The deeper they dug, the more they found. Deeds signed in blood, properties exchanged for promises, and family lines that ended abruptly, always after the stranger's visit. Tom realized that the desires granted by Blackwood's items came at the cost of the very soul of Derry. The climax of their search came on a night when the moon was a sliver in the sky, and the wind whispered warnings through the leaves. Tom and Jane confronted Blackwood in his shop, amongst the relics of 1,000 broken dreams. Blackwood's eyes glowed with a light that was not entirely human as he offered Tom his heart's desire, the return of his wife, who had passed away years ago. It was a moment of truth, where Tom's love and pain met the temptation of the dark offer before him. But Tom, with a strength born of grief and the fierce protectiveness for his town, denied Blackwood. It was in that moment that the antique shop seemed to crumble around them, and the items within lost their luster, becoming just things once again. Blackwood's form withered, his power breaking with the refusal of his deal. With a scream that echoed through the foundations of Derry, Blackwood vanished, leaving behind a town that was suddenly lighter, as though a great weight had been lifted. Tom and Jane emerged from the shop, the dawn breaking over a town that was free once more. The aftermath was not easy. The townsfolk had to come to terms with the chaos of their own making, the fractures in their relationships, and the cost of their desires. Tom, now a pillar of the community, worked with Jane to mend the scars left by Blackwood's visit. Derry would move on, as it always had, but now, with a vigilance against the darkness of desire and the price it demanded. And Heart's Mirror remained as nothing more than a cautionary tale, whispered by the wind in the quiet streets of a town too familiar with the strange and the supernatural. Well, boils and ghouls, it seems in Derry, the only thing more hollow than the townsfolk's hearts was Blackwood's promises. Share your thoughts in the comments, if you dare, about what you'd sell your soul for. Fright fans, click next for more chills and hit subscribe to join our ghastly gang. You see, who dares to miss out, so watch our next video.